This Spotlight is brought to you by presenting sponsor, Busey Bank. Welcome to Spotlight. I'm your host, Jane Wernette. Today I'm joined by 3 local nonprofits, Ride Assist Naperville, Hesed House, and Turning Pointe Autism Foundation. You're watching Spotlight, and joining me now from Ride Assist Naperville, or RAN for short, are Ashley Abraham and Diane Schlake. Very nice to have you both on the show. And Ashley, I'm going to start right out with you. Give us a little bit of information about exactly what is Ride Assist Naperville.
Sure. So we give rides to seniors to their medical appointments. So any senior that's 60 years or older that lives in Naperville and needs transportation and they're able to get in and out of a car on their own or with minimal assistance, we're here to give them transportation to their medical appointments.
Okay, and I know because we were just chatting offset, you've had a busy year. So talk a little bit about what's changed this year for you.
Yeah, 2023 was the biggest year we've had in terms of growth. We almost doubled the amount of volunteers we had over the previous year, which is amazing.
Well done.
Yeah, it was a lot of hard work from our whole team, so I'm really proud of that. And because of that, we were able to almost double the amount of rides we gave. So 2023, we gave the most rides we've ever given in 1 year, which was amazing. So because we had more volunteers, we were able to expand our program services from Monday through Friday. We now give rides Monday through Saturday. So that's a really big relief for some of our riders that need rides on Saturdays.
Yeah.
And in early 2024, just a couple weeks ago, we hit a big milestone. We gave our 10,000th ride since we started. So.
Oh, well done.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, and it speaks to the need, right?
Yes.
And that's, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But I want to talk to you, Diane, because you're a volunteer. So talk a little bit about why you volunteered and what's it like to be one.
Well, I've lived in Naperville for over 40 years with my husband and raised a family here. And a few years back, I retired from a job that I had working for the city of Naperville. I actually managed the street maps that the police and firefighters and paramedics use to get to their calls. So I'm very familiar with the streets of Naperville. Not that it's a requirement to be a volunteer, but
you
I
know
do know shortcuts. I do. Although some of the seniors, I do find they have a preferred way to go. They're used to seeing certain stores as on their way. So I kind of either go with the way the senior wants to or the most efficient way.
Okay.
But I decided I wanted to do something with an organization that was flexible. I do have grandchildren that live out of state. So if there is a week where I can't obligate a time slot where I'm able to help the senior, I would prefer to not be with an organization that would frown on me missing a week here and there.
Sure.
So what's nice about RAN is it's very flexible. I can, pick a morning session or an afternoon session that I'm going to be bringing a senior to their either a medical or an eye exam or physical therapy, whatever the appointment might be. And I kind of work it into knowing the town. If there's something that I need to be on the north side of town for, after I drop off the senior, I can head over to that particular store or whatever I might be going to. So it's very flexible, and it's something that if you want to make a senior happy by just being a volunteer, they're so appreciative. So I really do enjoy the fact that it's an easy thing to do as a volunteer.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think flexibility, I think obviously is always a key thing. But it sounds like, you have some really good conversation and people appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. So many of the seniors that I've met have moved to Naperville, especially if they're living in assisted living or senior housing. Their family members are in the area, but they may not be able to take off work to bring them to an appointment. So they're so appreciative. So it's always kind of fun to find out, so what brought you to Naperville, or what do you like best about Naperville? A lot of times they'll say the library, which I agree. We have a wonderful library, so it's fun conversations.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Ashley, as you kind of think about who is using Ride Assist Naperville, give us a little bit of a profile of who would be your typical user, or maybe two ends of the spectrum on who uses Ride Assist Naperville.
Yeah, so we try and help anyone that needs us. That's, like I said, 60 years or older. About 75% of our riders are female. We have a handful of women who have never driven and their spouse has just passed away and they find themselves in a conundrum, and we kind of help them with the transportation piece. We have other people that they've decided to give up driving for health reasons, or their doctor may have told them to stop driving. or if they're realizing they're on a limited income and they don't want to keep up with their car anymore. But basically, we're here to help with the transportation, make sure they still get to their doctor's appointments and let them live where they want to live instead of having to move because transportation is a barrier for them.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think we often don't think about, particularly in this country, transportation being a hurdle, but as you aptly describe it, in lots of different circumstances, right?
Right, yeah, so Uber and Lyft are available, but those can get very costly.
Yeah.
And the bus is a great system that we have here. However, it's just not perfect for a senior who needs a little more reassurance and having someone there. And so by our drivers staying with them in the waiting room or the lobby, it makes a huge difference so they know who their rider is or their driver is home and how they're getting home, and they know that it's safe.
Yeah, that's a comfort, right? And talk a little bit, because you mentioned it about Uber and Lyft and the cost, and all things have cost. Owning the car has a cost. How does that work for your passengers?
Sure. We ask for a donation. It's $15 per ride, but it's never mandatory. It's only for the people that have means to donate, and so we suggest $15 to offset some of our costs. But for people that are unable to pay, it's a free ride, and we are happy to help and make sure that they still make it to their appointments.
Okay, all right. No, that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of a sliding scale based on what you
Yes,
need, right?
yes,
Because
absolutely.
in some cases it's just the ride, and in other cases it might be that a little bit of financial support in that way, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Diane, talk a little bit about what you most enjoy about volunteering and maybe how your experience has changed over the last couple of years.
Yeah, well, what I really like is the software that they have come up with for the seniors. Both drivers and seniors call in and contact Ashley and her team to set up the appointments. And so when we decide that we want to pick a Monday ride, we'll look and we'll see the list of what seniors are in need of being transported, and we'll know if they have a wheelchair. It might be a lightweight, it might be one an individual who needs to be in a van or SUV or a sedan. They might clarify that. Other times, sometimes they even have oxygen, but they're usually relatively lightweight. Some of the seniors like to bring their spouse with, so you kind of have an idea before you select that call. You know where they live, where you're going to be bringing them to, and approximately how long that appointment will be.
Okay.
Because it'll indicate what type of doctor and where the doctor's office is. So I like the software a lot, and the other thing that it does is we contact the senior usually the day before, 2 days before their appointment, just to confirm that their appointment is still good, because I may select somebody a month out before their medical appointment, and so a couple days before things could have changed.
Sure.
So the software will notify me if there's been a cancellation. It'll remind me, oh, you've got a call in 2 days, so make sure you make your follow-up phone call. And the training was really good that we received. To understand the software and to have other drivers participate in the training, to kind of give you the heads up that some seniors are a little anxious about where they're going for their appointments.
Sure.
They've got an unknown illness possibly. So I really like the support from the training of that. And the seniors that I've driven have all just been so appreciative of what we do. Sometimes if they have a vision impairment, we might have to put our arm out a little bit so that we could stabilize them on their walk into the offices.
Okay.
But it's just...
And you have something that you wanted to show
this
us,
is-
so just to give us a little
It's an
heads up on
item
this, because I've
called-
never seen one of these
It's
before.
called a car cane, and this item was actually acquired by RAN through a grant that Ashley wrote. And so if you're driving a sedan like I do, and the senior has weakness in their legs, this goes into an open passenger car door, and then the latch is the support for where the prong goes into. And then the senior can put their entire weight onto the car cane. And every senior that I've offered this to assist in getting out of the car, they've been so appreciative.
Sure.
So, and then in the training, we get name tags and ways to identify ourselves. We always tell what color car to expect if it's an apartment
Yeah.
building that we're coming to, so they'll know who to look for.
So Ashley, as we're wrapping up, how else can the community help you?
Yeah, visit our website. We are always looking for volunteer drivers. We're also looking for anyone that wants to give back in any way. We're always looking for new board members. So if you have a specialty and you want to give back by way of being on a board, reach out. We're happy to have a conversation and see if it's a good fit. And really anyone can be a good ambassador for RAN. So now that you're watching this spotlight, you know more about our organization. And if you know of a senior that could use our organization, or if you know of someone that's wanting to give back and volunteer, just remind them that RAN is here and have them reach out.
You're an option.
Yeah.
And you're very flexible, as Diane had said,
We are,
right?
and we're all getting older, so who knows, someday I may need it.
Yes, you'll be on receiving end, but you'll have your little cane thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You'll be all set. Ladies, it was so nice to have you on the show. We wish you continued good luck, and let's hope you hit another milestone in 2024. And if you would like to learn more or volunteer to Ride Assist Naperville, please go and visit their website. We're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned. We're coming right back with more Spotlight.
This is the Run My Own Business dream. This is the college is paid for dream. This is the retire early dream. This is Busey, where your dreams and possibilities become moments through trusted guidance and expertise, through lifelong relationships. Because we're here to help you achieve the life you've always envisioned.
If you're just tuning in, you're watching Spotlight. I'm your host, Jane Wernette, and joining me now from Hesed House is Lauren Jernigan. It's so nice to see you again.
It's great to see you.
Yeah, so tell our viewers about Hesed House. What is it?
Hesed House is the area's largest homeless shelter, and our mission is to end homelessness one person, one family at a time. So we are actually the area's largest comprehensive resource center dedicated to helping people. We resource them if they are facing homelessness. So we include all sorts of case management, and we have a number of different shelters as well as case management and homeless prevention, all sorts of different things to help people.
Yeah, and you're one of the largest in the state of Illinois, right?
Yes, we're actually the second largest shelter. The largest one is downtown Chicago, and then there's Hesed House located right here in Aurora. We also serve all of Naperville, a number of different counties. So folks from DuPage County, Will County, Kane County, so Kendall County, so people from all sorts of areas.
Okay, and how would you describe how you help the community?
You know, people that are in our area, a lot of times we don't actually see people who are homeless. We might think that we do because we see one or two people that are standing on the street, but a lot of times we don't actually see people facing homelessness. It's because they're at Hesed House. You know, every night we have hundreds of people that are staying in our overnight emergency shelters. We have an adult men's shelter, an adult women's shelter, where we see 200 plus men and women every night. Our family shelter has, somewhere over 100 people on a nightly basis. And that's just in those overnight emergency shelters. We also have hundreds of people in our supportive housing programs. And so that's a different ministry that we have, where we're continuing to see that need for supportive housing. You'll hear that phrase a lot. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But, supportive housing is another really important thing, where people just really need a little extra help to be able to live independently. And so those are just two of the ways that we help people. But my favorite program is our homeless prevention. So when people are facing homelessness, we really want to stop them from ever having to come to Hesed House in the first place. So we want to be able to make sure that they're not ever entering homelessness. And so our homeless prevention program really helps people never have to become homeless.
Yeah, and I think that's really important, right? Because there are obviously triggers and things that unfortunately land people in that situation.
Yeah.
So if you can cut it off before it happens, so much the better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned, it's a lot of people that you're housing in your overnight shelters. Is that Lauren, more of people coming back? Is it different people every night? Is it the same people every night? Describe what your population looks like.
Yeah, typically about 50% of our guests are with us just for 2 weeks or less. So, that's really more situational homelessness. So something happens, imagine there's a car accident and you all of a sudden can't go to work, you're in the hospital, then you lose your job because you don't have your car, you can't pay your bills, you lose your housing. So that's just kind of a situation that you fall into. Then about the 42% of our population is with us for 2 weeks to 2 years. They're facing a couple barriers. Perhaps there's some issues with mental illness or addiction or financial complications, and just, a number of different barriers. And so that's where our case managers and our staff, come alongside. That's where the power of our volunteers, right? We talk a lot about hope and dignity. So those are words that are really important and core to the work at Hesed House. And our community, not only do we love to care for our community, but our community is what makes Hesed House. It's not our staff. We have a very small number of staff compared to the almost 8,000 volunteers it takes on a yearly basis to let our work actually happen. And so, that's 42% of our folks are with us for that kind of time period. And then only about 8% of our folks are with us for more long-term. Okay. And that's really what's considered chronic the folks facing chronic homelessness. And they have a number of barriers that are going on, and that's where supportive housing really is that answer. And that's some of the most important things facing our country right now, is figuring out how we can really care for people that are facing those barriers, and how can we provide more supportive housing for people.
Yeah. Now I've heard it, you're called a low threshold shelter. Yeah. What does that mean?
For us, we understand that people, especially people who may have gone through a lot of trauma in their life, there's addiction, there's other things that are going on. So, for Hesed House, we aren't going to turn somebody away because they may have made a decision. And so we're going to make sure that if somebody's struggling with mental illness, or addiction, we're not going to have different rules in place where they might have been turned away at a different location. And so, for us, we want to make sure that we are as accessible as possible. And so our rules just allow that flexibility as much as possible for people.
Sure.
And so we look at a housing first model. And so we want to make sure people's basic needs are met. We want to focus on ensuring that we can reach as many people as possible, because we know that the security of having shelter and having food and having clothing really is a game changer in the long run. When you allow people to have that stability, then they're able to think about what next. And
Sure.
They know, okay, when I know my next meal is going to be provided by compassionate volunteers, and I have a case manager that really cares about me, then I can start to think about what next. When I know I'm going to have a bed to come to tomorrow night, then I don't have to be constantly concerned about figuring that piece out. So
you're not in survival mode.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, for us, we want to just eliminate all those barriers as much as we can. So being low threshold for us is really important.
Okay, so now how could the community help you at Hesed House?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have a number of different ways. You can visit our website, of course, and so that's just, a wonderful place. We always have our immediate needs list, and so we keep that updated. You can make donations. Financial donations allow us to meet the unique needs of people. So we have newborns that spend their first few days of life at Hesed House, and we have people of all ages. And so when people have a unique need, you can imagine that's hard to always be equipped with everything
Sure.
we need. So that lets us do that. We have our Derby party that's coming up on May 4th at White Eagle. So information is there. It's the best party in town, in my opinion. So I'll be there. Would love to say hi to everybody. Come out, celebrate with us. It's going to be fantastic. You can learn more on our website, and you can learn more about volunteering and getting involved. So yeah, there's a number of different ways.
Lots of things to do. So
yeah.
as we wrap up here, what's new? Because I think you've got some new news, right?
We do. We've got, some exciting things are happening. I've mentioned supportive housing and the importance of that. So we've got a wonderful new project that's coming up in partnership with AID and the Neighbor Project. That's going to be just a great supportive housing project. So that's happening in Aurora. So it's going to take a little bit of time for that to get off the ground and running, but we're very excited about it. And then our big shelter expansion that I know everybody's been watching for a few years now, the back of our warehouse and our comprehensive resource center, that's going to be finished hopefully by the end of June. So we're just really excited, and that's going to be expanding our capacity to allow us to serve even more people, and then on to hopefully expanding our family shelter. So sky's the limit, and we just are so excited about it.
That's terrific. Thank you so much for stopping by. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Absolutely. And to find out more about Hesed House, please go and visit their website. We're taking a quick break, but stay tuned. We're coming right back.
This is the Run My Own Business dream. This is the college is paid for dream. This is the retire early dream. This is Busey, where your dreams and possibilities become moments through trusted guidance and expertise, through lifelong relationships. Because we're here to help you achieve the life you've always envisioned.
Naperville Crime Stoppers.
Yes, I'd like to report some suspicious activity in my neighborhood. How does this work?
Yes, thanks for calling. Your call is anonymous, and I will not ask for your name. Instead, you'll be identified by a tip number. In a few weeks, call back with the tip number you received, and I will let you know the status of your tip. If an arrest is made, you could receive a reward up to $1,000.
How do I get the reward money if you don't know who I am?
Well, when you call back, we set up a time and a place to drop the money. You will be safe, and nobody will know you gave Crime Stoppers a tip.
Okay, well, here's what's going on.
Welcome back to Spotlight. And joining me now from Turning Pointe Autism Foundation are Angela Williams and Lexi Earle. Very nice to have you both on the show. And Angela, I'm going to start with you. There are a lot of organizations working to meet the needs of the autism spectrum. So what makes Turning Pointe Autism Foundation so special?
Well, Turning Point, since its founding, has really relied on research-based interventions that are really best practice. So they really help our students succeed because they're proven to be effective and efficient. We do research at our site as well as collaborate with experts from all around the country.
Okay, all right. Well, and that kind of feeds into something with you, Lexi, right? Because you're a clinician, Angela's a clinician, right? So talk about what that is for you at Turning Point.
Yeah, so me and Angela both graduated with our master's in applied behavior analysis in March of last year. And so we are both BCBAs here at Turning Point. To give you a better understanding, a BCBA is just someone who works with the individuals on a daily basis. So we actually use past data to drive all of our decisions to either increase skill acquisition or decrease a student's problem behavior.
Okay, all right. So I'm working on kind of both ends of the spectrum, then, right?
Yeah, so we do both at Turning Point.
Okay, all right. Now, Angela, why don't you give us a little bit better sense of your students? What does the student body look like?
Sure, so Turning Point is a unique organization. We have a day school that serves students ages 5 to 22. Then we have an adult day program for individuals over 22 and an employment training program for those who are interested in independent employment, as well as social groups for our adults on the spectrum as well.
Okay, so you really are right from the get-go all the way up, if I come. And do you have students that kind of work through that whole program with you?
We do. It was really important to Randy and Kim Wolf when they developed the program that we could really be the one-stop shop for all of our services. So some of our day school students are currently in our adult day program.
Okay, and can just kind of stay with you because they built the trust, and I would think that's important, right?
And I was going to say that is the highlight of the school is walking in and you know that you're going to have a good day as soon as you see the kids' faces. So I would say that that is probably one of the best parts of Turning Point is the kids.
Is the kids,
The unique abilities of all the kids.
Yeah, and you have now, for our viewers, give us a sense of where you're located.
Yeah, so we're in Naperville on Ogden Road, 1500 West Ogden. So we really are by a lot of community places where we're able to go on community outings with the kids and build on that experience for them as well.
Okay, and how many kids do you have at the school? I mean, how many, if you were to give me sort of a sense of number of kids at the school and then in your continuing programs, what does that look like?
Sure, we currently have 50 students in our day school, as well as 11 in our adult day program, and servicing more than 14 in our employment training program.
Okay, all right. So, and so you're getting very focused service.
Yes, it's very individualized and very student focused.
Okay. So now tell me a little bit, Lexi, I know you do some work with universities.
Yeah.
So give our viewers a little bit of an understanding about what that work involves and who you're working with.
Yeah, so we actually pair with 12 universities. One of the universities we pair with is the university that myself and Angela went to. So we have students that are at those universities that come and get their placements at Turning Point and get their hours for speech, OT, behavior analysis. So we really are super lucky because we get to get all the updated research from the universities. We also have a practice advisory board that's made up of doctoral professors from different universities all over the country. So they volunteer their time, and we're able to collaborate them whenever we need, really.
Okay, so I mean, it gets back to what you were saying, Angela, right, about that research base. You're constantly fueling that with new academic research and how
Yes,
you can...
we're always up to date on the newest research that there is.
Yeah,
which is
absolutely.
really awesome.
No, that's wonderful. Angela, how can the community work with you?
Well, speaking of community supports, we do have a couple events coming up for April in Autism Awareness Month. On April 18th, that Practice Advisory Board will be in town to do professional development as well as some community events. And then on April 27th, the SLU Slime Institute will be on site for our resource fair. But in addition, I mean, we always greatly value our donors. We have opportunities to volunteer. You can go on our website to check out for more details. You know, our real goal is to just inform the community in a broader sense through our research, through our programs, and through our community resources.
Yeah, and I think I have to just go back. Say the SLU Blue thing again. That was like you really had me interested. What is that?
The SLU Slime Institute. There are multiple locations. There's actually one downtown Chicago. They've partnered with us for multiple events. It is exactly as it sounds. So it is all different kinds and colors, textures of slime that students love, families love. It's really a sensory support.
Okay.
Lexi has some students that particularly love it as well. So it's just a great organization that we partner with.
Okay. Oh, that's lovely. I had to understand what that was.
It's great.
And I think one of the things you sort of talked a little bit about, and you referenced, Angela, there was that in addition to all the students that you're working with in the school and you're working through your career supports and that kind of stuff, you also are providing information to the community. And you kind of mentioned that. So say a little bit more there.
Yeah, something that we're really passionate about is making sure that the community has access to resources and supports for individuals with autism. So we have a family specialist who connects with the community and offers social groups for our alumni. It's called the Hangouts. And we also offer a lot of community trainings that she pushes out each month, but it's all available on our website so that the community can see how they can get involved and participate.
Okay, so even if I don't have a student there or I'm just interested in getting a bit more information, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay, well, wonderful. Well, listen, I'm so glad that you stopped by. I really appreciate all the good information.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome. And for more information about Turning Point Autism Foundation, please go and visit their website. I'd like to thank all of my guests for joining us on Spotlight, and our friends at Busey Bank for their generous sponsorship of today's show. To learn more about the organizations featured on this episode, please visit our website at nctv17.org. And to stay informed about what's happening in our community, sign up to receive our daily news update and like and follow us on social media. For Spotlight, I'm Jane Wernette. Thank you for watching. This Spotlight is brought to you by presenting sponsor, Busey Bank.